Now, Michael Vigil is the former Chief of International Operations for the US Drug Enforcement Administration, and he joins us now live from Albuquerque in New Mexico. Thanks so much for speaking to us on TRT World. And first of all, your reaction to Jeffrey Epstein's death, and why was he not on suicide watch at the time of his death?
Well, the suicide of Jeffrey Epstein comes as no surprise, because obviously he attempted suicide a couple of weeks ago. Now, the protocols for suicide watch within the penitentiaries varies, but normally the prison guards have to check on the inmates every 15 minutes. But sometimes this situation is impeded by the lack of resources in terms of manpower. Now, with his suicide, the victims, and there are many, feel cheated because most of them wanted to see the scales of justice come crashing on this pedophile's head. But hopefully the investigation will continue, because the scope and the magnitude of Epstein's sex trafficking is international in nature. There's a lot of testimony, a lot of depositions that have been given by many of his victims, stating that many prominent government officials, diplomats, were engaged in this situation with Jeffrey Epstein.
And you say the scope and magnitude of the sex trafficking is international. Do you think that we will get the answers and get to the bottom of this?
Well, the thing is that the prosecutors that are handling this come from the Southern District of New York, and they have some of the best prosecutors in the United States. They have prosecuted organized crime figures, individuals like Chapo Guzman, the biggest drug trafficker in the world. So I'm sure that the U.S. Attorney's Office in that district will leave no stone unturned when it comes to this type of crime against, children and humanity.
Absolutely. And the Attorney General, William Barr, he said Mr. Epstein's death raises serious questions that must be answered. What other questions would you have?
Well, the question there is, did he commit suicide? Obviously there's a lot of conspiracy theories, because of the high-profile nature of Epstein's crimes and the fact that he was tied into prominent politicians. But I feel that, he did, in fact, commit suicide. And it's no coincidence that his death came one day after the U.S. government, put out information as to his crimes. And so, Epstein, I think, took the cowardly way out, because, the evidence was overwhelming. And there's no doubt in my mind that Epstein would have spent the rest of his days in prison.
And you say it's no coincidence that he took his life one day after, after that evidence. What do you think was there?
Well, the evidence dealt with, depositions, with information, things that he was doing internationally, the individuals that he was involved with. So his attorneys, I'm sure, told him that it was going to be a very difficult case to win, based on all of the damaging information. And I think that Epstein preferred death than going to prison, like most cowards do. And, so he, in the end, was a coward, but he was not a coward when he came to destroying a lot of these young women's lives.
Michael Vigil, it's been really great to get your perspective. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts, and for speaking to us on TRT World.